Hi everyone, and welcome back. We'll continue our discussion about the querying the data that we have stored in the S3 using AWS Athena through the SQL interface, which is really a powerful concept. Like in this video, I'm going to show you how we can run the journal queries, do a quick data analysis that will help us to do a sense check of our data. And based on that, we can identify if we need to perform any cleansing or any transformation operation, depends upon the business requirement, right? So let's start with a simple query. I'm getting the first 10 rows, which generally in excuse me, in some other languages we write down like this. So these two are the equivalent statement, but in Athena, because it's using the Presto engine behind the scenes, so it follows the SQL, which is coming as part of the Presto, right? So keep in mind. So you can, because we are not able to use it in this software or in this service, so I'm just going to take it out. But that will suffice for us because it will do the same job. So let me just hit run just to show you. We're going to get the 10 records, the top 10. The criteria is depend upon how the query engine is identifying which row it's going to return. But at the end, we are only getting 10 rows, right? So let's see whether we have a duplicate records based on the person name, because I think these three fields they are combining to uniquely identify, because we haven't defined uh, any unique ID on this data set, which is generally the case in most of the cases, but because it's just the fake data, so we can assume that, okay, if the data is not coming without a key, how we can identify the unique rows, right? So let's come in here, and what I'm going to do now, let me just write down another query, and I'm going to count total, and let me just copy from the top. And I'm now going to group by, because group by is going to actually combine the rows together based on the combination which I'm going to define within the group by. So I want to check how many records we have by first name, middle name, and last name. So what it will do, it will combine those records which has the similar values in first name, middle name, and last name, and then it's going to actually count them, and it will display the count. And I need to show them with my count, right? So again, the concept is pretty simple. What we are trying to do, we are trying to get the total count based on the combination of these three columns, right? Now, so you can imagine group by is like buckets or bins. So whatever record or row has the similar combination, it's going to put it into the respective bucket, right? Now, if one bucket or bin has more than one record, that means we have a duplicate records in our data set, right? So, and that's the aim. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put some additional condition, and generally once we apply the condition on the summarize function, we use the having clause. So having clause is more like the attached with the group by, which allow you to filter your data based on the grouping or the summation, right? So in this case, what I'm going to now check, yeah, count star is greater than 1, right? Because that's the concept. If the bucket of first name, last, middle name, and last name, it has more than one entry, that means that bucket has to be reported, right? That's the concept of duplication. All right, so now let me just quickly go and run it again. Oh, we have some here. Let me see. I think for somehow it won't allow us to run more than one. Only one statement is allowed. Okay. How about if I just take it out and put it down? It's a funny thing because I've commented it and still it's not. So we can take it out. Should be all right. All right. Let's see. So now you can see these are the ones. Oh, we have we have 6 records where the person name are similar, and we are assuming that they are the unique records, right? It can't be, but like you can see, out of 11,000 records, we have 6 records where the names are similar. Now we can do one more thing just to confirm our testing. And in this case, let me see where I can go, because unfortunately I can only write down one query in one window, which is pain. Tell you the truth, that's fine. But yeah, let me just hide it here. All right, so let's put it in here. Let me see if I have some additional column that I can use to generate the unique combination. We have age, we have date of birth, but date of birth is not coming, right? So, but we have the age. So age is gonna be and for us in this case, or I can check with the email, because email generally have a unique presence in the record. So we can see whether if we are able to get the uniqueness through the email, right? So these are all part of the data analysis that we generally do before we load the data into our final containers. All right, so let's what we're gonna do in here, we are let's change this query now. Same thing. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to again count. Well, but this time I'm going to use the email address, right? Sorry, what was the column name? Email only. Email, right? And I'm going to do it through the group by email, right? And yeah, I think we are good. Let's run it to see whether we have the duplication on email as well. Yeah, so they are all coming as one, but now I need to check the duplication. So I need to put some additional condition to see having count star greater than 1, right? So let's see if I run it now. We still have, right? So you can see, oh, we have so many records where the email address is duplicated, right? Keep in mind that's not the real data, so we can assume all these sort of things, right? That how the faker is generating this data, it has its own algorithm, and I believe it's taking the first letter and the last name, and that's where it's the first letter of the first name and taking the last name, and based on that combination, it is generating the email address, which is obviously, we can see it's even worse than the first name, middle name, and last name. So that's fine. At least we know that, okay, that is not helpful for us, and we can go back to our original data set, which is right. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to include the age, right, in the previous query, because we can check if the age even is going to be the same, which is a very rare case, but it happens, right? And that's why I'm saying, well, so these are all the exercises we generally do as part of the EDA, or you can see to fix our data, right? Or to analyze our data when it's reached to the landing zone. All right, so what I'm going to do now in here, so that's the wrong query window. See, not this one. What happened to my other 2 queries? Huh? Sorry, I just need to close the window just to avoid any confusion. Yeah, so we are that's the latest query windows where we were working here. So in here, what I'm going to do now, let's see if I'm adding an age. So now in the same container, I just add one more attribute to see whether it's going to be provide us the unique combination. Now the concept is the same. It's gonna see the combination of first name, middle name, last name, and the age. If we have more than one record, which have a similar first name, middle name, last name, and age, it's gonna put it into one container. And if one container or bin or bucket has more than one entry, that means that a bin needs to be reported, right? So because and we are using the count function, count is gonna count the number of entries in that bin and gonna report us, right? And we are only reporting where the bin count is greater than 1. All right, so let's run it now and see whether if I'm going to get any records. All right, so that's the unique combination, which is good, right? So with all my records, I'm unable to see any duplication, right? So if we are unable to get the primary key, that's how we generally fix it, right? So we can take the combination of first name, middle name, last name, and age, and we can use them to use as a primary key. But tell you the truth, that's not a very good approach and not recommended, because it might be possible we have a duplicate entry based on the first name, middle name, last name, and age, especially if you are working in a big system where you have plenty of customers, right? So it's gonna be happen that you get the two people having the same name and the same age, right? It's not I would say unavoidable. So always try to use a proper primary key or unique ID, so it can help you to uniquely identify your records, which obviously help you in the later stage once you need to even work in the analytical space or in the data warehousing, right? So that's a quick introduction. And one thing I want to correct from the last video, if you have seen at the end, we were unable to get the total count that we have seen in our table, and I have executed the nested query, and the mistake was I was counting the country. I was counting the records by country, and once I run it, it shows me, yeah, I have almost, let's see, it's just showing 100 records in here. Let me see if it's yeah, it's showing me 243 records, right? But then what I did, I run this full query because I put it in the nested statement. Well, don't worry if you are unable to understand nested. I'm going to explain it in the next video. So if you look at in here, I've just nested it and I'm now counting the total, right? So what's gonna do, it's gonna actually the outer query is gonna count the number of records which we have in the inner query, and we can see the number of records are coming as 243. So if I run the whole query, I'm gonna get the exact number, but that's not what I need. I want to see how many total records we have, because I want to match the results of inner query. If I sum them, or if I add them together, it should be equal to the total record of the all files which have been stored in the S3 bucket, right? So instead of using the count function, I need to use the sum function, because then it will add all the counts of the inner query together and give us the right result. So let me just run it now. And you can see we have the 11,000 records which are appearing, right? And that is exactly the total number of records. So what I can do, let me quickly go in here. Sorry, not in here. Yeah, and let's see if I'm able to. Let's go preview. And instead of, you can see we have 11,000, and that is matching with exactly with this query. The only difference is this query we have written it a bit differently compared to this. Is a very simple one, but obviously this is a bit complicated, but it has its own use cases. We have many scenarios where we need to nest the query just to convert the output that is required by the targeting system, right? So we're going to discuss in the later videos once we encounter those kind of scenarios. So that's pretty much all about this video, where we have discussed how we can write the query, how we can validate the data, how we can identify the unique record if the records are not coming with the primary key, right? So with all these things, we have just end up looking at how a quick analysis of the data has been performed before it can move to the next stage. But keep in mind, we are doing it with everything in the big data environment, where we have the data sitting in the data lake, and we are manipulating that data. So feel free to reach out if you have any question. More than happy to answer. Otherwise, stay tuned for the next video, where we're going to discuss the sub queries and the nested queries. Thanks for watching.